ذلك. اللهم عن أبا سفيان معاوية يزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرد بيال زياد الوان ومروان مقدم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم بضاعف عليهم اللعنة منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتغرب إليك بهذا اليوم وفيما هو بهذا ويوم حياتي بالبراءة منه واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة نبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم من عبر ظالم ذنبك محمد وآل محمد وآخر قابل ولا ذلك. اللهم من الإصابة التي جعلت الحسين وشايد وضايد وثابت وقتله اللهم انهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الروح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعل الله خلالت مني لزيارتكم. برای شفای تمام مریض ها و شادی تمام اموات که زیارت رو هم با هم کنیم. السلام علی الحسین و علی علی ابن الحسین و علی اولاد الحسین و علی اصحاب الحسین علیه السلام. اللهم خص انت والظالم بالله مني والذبي أولا ثم الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم أن يزيد خامسا وأن عبد الله الذي عدم قبل الجولة وورد سالم الشمال وعلى أبي سفيان وعلى زياد وعلى مروان إلى يوم القيامة. اللهم لك الحمد وحمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله العظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين والورود وثبت بغلم سبزنك مع الحسين واصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا ما جاء من الحسين عليه السلام رحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين. شريف امي اموات پس اموات این جمع صلوات. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you so much. I request to feature site work in Fatiha. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد. وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد
صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد. Excellent, mashallah. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. I respected with honor. Mashallah.
Now request Taha. Sorry, Tasin. Tasin. And you will also recite Quran, correct?
What?
What surah are you reciting?
Fudge too.
Surah Fajr. So it will be an extension of the same surah, inshallah. It is recommended by Sheikh to recite Surah Al-Fajr during these days, so everybody is prepared that. MashaAllah. Salawat for Tasin and for everyone present. Allahumma salli ala.
No, on Fridays we're not supposed to be nervous.
On Fridays, we don't be.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر علم كيف فعل ربك بآد إرم ذات الإماد الذي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون بالأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فسبح عليهم ربك سوط عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الذين فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على المسكين وتأكلون تراثا أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دخلت الأرض دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد يومئذ ولا ينفق وثاقه أحد يترك نفس مسلمة ترجعي إلى ربك راضية مرفوعة فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد. أحسنتم. Very good answer. MashaAllah, very good. Now, see, you might have noted while you were reciting, I was studying. It's not about competition now.
Reciting very well, and we were
MashaAllah.
nervous because on Fridays we are not supposed to be nervous.
MashaAllah. Love salawat for the well-being of Fasin and everyone. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The extension of the Javed family, Taha, can you please come and deliver a brief speech about the events of Karbala?
Okay, I'm gonna read you. I'm going to Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm going to be doing a speech. The topic is why didn't Allah save Imam Husain, his family, and his companions through a miracle on the day of Ashura? Okay. Allah the Almighty has the entire creation under his command. Allah stopped the dagger of Prophet Ibrahim salam from cutting the neck of Prophet Ismail. He could have done the same for Imam Husain salam and his companions. There are many reasons why this miracle did not happen. Number one, prophets and the Imams aren't allowed to use miracles for their personal reasons. They need to act and live like a normal person. Number two, Imam Husain sacrificed himself and his family and his companions to revive the religion of Islam and its true teachings, because people had started to change the rules and orders of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. Number three, by his sacrifice, he set himself as a role model for all people. He taught us to stand for the truth. Number four, Shahadat in the way of Allah is the highest rank for a Muslim. Imam Husain's goal was to achieve Shahadat to earn seeing Allah and prophets in Jannah. Through all the tests and trial, Allah elevated Imam Husain and his followers' positions and rewards. On the day of Ashura, angels and jinns came to Imam Husain's aid, but Imam Husain did not accept their offer. He could have cursed the army of Yazid and destroyed them, but instead he continued to guide them and invite them to change their mind. He fought an unfair battle, 72 people against thousands, but did not accept to live under a corrupted government. Imam Hussein is a true role model of bravery and patience for people. He sacrificed everything he had. In return, he achieved Allah's satisfaction and mercy. Salawat.
Awesome, mashallah.
Very good, excellent.
And I was just confirming it with Sheikh Shirazi that amongst the list of Quran reciters that we have, which are 9, Fasin is the youngest. MashaAllah. And Tawseen, being the youngest, recites correctly. MashaAllah. 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 जी ऑडियो किधर MashaAllah, you recited very well. Yeah. Awesome. Sister Husna Muradi, are you there? Request Sister Husna Muradi, and she will also give us a brief about the events of Karbala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Your body must go up. Your body.
Battle of Qibla marks the greatest sacrifice for the sake of God in the human history. The last 1400 years, the vision versus the vision, the right versus the wrong. Saint alayhi salam prophesied of virtue versus the head of empathy. Among the men between the saving religion, Islam, and many examples.
How do I increase your volume? With the remote or it goes up?
An imminent example of the whole mankind, here and after.
Yeah, that's better.
And when Husain alayhi salam, life was also not an ordinary one. Being the son of Imam Ali alayhi salam, he was trained and raised by the righteous protector of Islam. He had learned courage and bravery from his father Imam Ali, and also showcases his power right at the childhood by taking part in 3 ways during his father's time. In the Battle of Jamal, when Husain was in charge, commanding the left side of the army, Amir al-Mu'minin, he also achieved the first victory for the army of Imam Ali in the Battle of Siffin, where he and his champions proved the pride with his struggle. What happened to all the Battle of Karbala was a real tragedy, event in the history of Islam. The tragedy of Karbala was no ordinary tragedy. And Imam Husain was no holy man but revolutionary. He was grandson of the holy prophet of Islam, Muhammad. For oppressed communities, worldwide regardless of religion, gender, or race, the tragedy of Karbala came to mind. Eventually, Karbala signifies a lesson that human beings should never submit to tyranny, oppression, or falsehood. Like the Imam of his time, he was protected from his grandfather, Prophet Muhammad. When Husain alayhi salam stood up against the threat of the time to safeguard and protect their religion, Islam, and guide all Muslims toward the right path. On the other hand, the same power of the rulers, Muawiyah and his second depended solely on the might of the sword. They used brute force to rule over the Muslim empire, even by all possible elegant means. His great sacrifice is not just appreciated and remembered by the Muslim, however. There are many great non-Muslim scholars and leaders who have written their tributes towards Imam Husain alayhi salam and his son. الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والفجر وليال العشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بإرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون بالأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا ولا تكتمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي يقول فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم.
أحسنتم very good listening. ما شاء الله. محمد وعلى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. کاروانی سر صحرا در بیابان می‌رود. گویا آن زینب است با چشم گریان می‌رود. ساربان آهسته رام آرام جان گم کردم. من در این دریای خون در گران گم کرده‌ام. ساربان آهسته ران تندی مکن با کاروان. مهربانم می‌رود آرام جانم می‌رود. ساربانا مهلتی دارم در اینجا مشکلی رفته از دستم گلی از وی نبردم حاصلی. اندر این دشت بلا رفته ز دستم نوگلی من حسین با وفا آرام جان گم کردم. ساربان بهر خدای من کمی آهسته تر اندر این دشت بلا گم گشته از من تاج سر. شش برادر شش دلاور از من خونین جگر اندر این صحرا ز جور کوفیان گم کرده. ساربانا مهلتی تا بر سر نقش حسین از دلم گویم ببارم خونگل از هر دو عین. در عزایش عالمی را پر کنم از هر دو عین. من برادر در میان خاک و خون گم کردم. سلام.
بابا بلند صلوات اللهم صل على محمد.
सैकड़ों साल हुए जब न मिला था पानी। सैकड़ों साल हुए जब न मिला था पानी। आज तक है लबे शबीर का प्यासा पानी। आज तक है लबे शबीर का प्यासा पानी। सैकड़ों साल हुए कैसे बास्ती में मोहम्मद का मुसाफिर ठहरा। कैसी बस्ती मोहम्मद का मुसाफिर ठहरा। और धूप खैमाती दरी रेत नजारा धूप खैमाती दरी रेत नजारा पानी। करबला सामने आती जो वो लाशें लेकर। करबला सामने आती जो वो लाशें लेकर। अरे आँख तो आँख है पत्थर से भी रिश्ता पानी। आँख तो आँख है पत्थर से भी रिश्ता तशनगी उसे की समंदर
समंदर को बुला सकती थी। तशनगी उसकी समंदर को बुला सकती थी। अरे काट सकता था वो तलवार से चलता पानी। काट सकता था वो तलवार से चलता किसके सर फतेहा का तारीख ने सहरा बांधा। किसके सर फतेहा का तारीख ने सहरा बांधा। अरे सुरखरू कौन है दोनों में लहू या सुरखरू कौन है दोनों में लहू या पानी। Last stanza. के जब ज़िक्र शोदा दिल में मुज़फ़्फ़र छेड़ा। जब ज़िक्र शोदा दिल ने मुज़फ़्फ़र छेड़ा। आँख एक ज़ख्म बनी आँख से टपका पानी। आँख एक ज़ख्म बनी आँख से टपका सैकड़ों साल हुए जब न मिला था पानी। आज तक है लबे शबीर का प्यासा पानी।
There's a famous couplet in Farsi which is very well known in India, Pakistan as well. Yeah. Most of the Pakistani people learned it by heart. Shah has to say, Badshah has to say, Deen has to say, Deen Kana has to say, Sarda, Nada Dastar Daste Yazid, Hakka Kibina Ida Ida has to say. For all reciters, especially the youngest reciter that we have today, Qasim, and every one of you present here, Allah salawat for you and me. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. I have the question, Sheikh Shirazi, please educate us on this story.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله من أول الدنيا إلى فنائها ومن الآخرة إلى بقائها الحمد لله على كل نعمة وأستغفر الله من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه وهو أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك حوضا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد For the well-being of Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, so that our children grow and listed among the best of Muslims and among the best of the servants of Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, and all those who are ill and ailing, for them, all those who have passed away, for their forgiveness, for their elevation in ranks. Allah accept this majlis from every one of us, the Qabul Hasan, inshallah. Now, most of these young reciters who recited Quran, mashallah, they recited correctly. Tajweed was observed, and the Arabic also, if you had noticed, although some were slow, but they were correct, all of them, mashallah. And that is a mighty achievement, an achievement for the child and for the parents. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was passing by a graveyard. Ashab, the companions were with him. Rasulullah said to them, fast, quick, don't stop here. They asked why. He replied that that person in the grave was being punished, so we didn't want to stay there in that azab. A year passed, same graveyard, same prophet, same ashab, same grave. They were passing by now. Rasulullah said, stop. Now the companions, they were a little worried. They said, last year you said rush, this year you say stop. Why? Here Rasulullah replied, the son of this person buried in this grave, for the first time he said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. For that Bismillah that the son recited and learned, the azab from the father has been removed. That is that barakat of Quran, learning Quran and reciting Quran correctly. And the surah that all these young reciters recited was Surah Al-Fajr. The reason why we are reciting Surah Al-Fajr is the other name of Surah Al-Fajr is Surah Al-Husain. And because the last ayah of that surah, Ya ayyatuha an-nafsul mutma'innah, irji'i ila rabbika radiyatan mardiyah, fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati. This ayah is for Imam Husain alayhi salam. For that ayah, this surah was revealed, and the name of the surah is Surah Al-Husain, the other name. May Allah accept from everyone this recitation, learning, and all of this is a very big asset. Inshallah, it will remain for us in our graves, in our barzakh and qiyamah. Returning to ahkam, we have a nazr at the same Farsi, or in Urdu, mannat mangna. In English, vow. Sometimes you vow to do something. So in fact, you can vow, and that is nazr. For example, I vow to do a certain task. If my wish is granted, I vow to recite 100 salawat, for example. Or I vow to recite or to offer some mustahab prayer. Or I vow to go to Karbala. Now, all these vows, they are correct because it is something which is rewarding. Now, if someone vows, and that has to be in word, that is, I have to say that properly, only then it becomes binding. If I have that nazar, that vow in my heart, that is not binding. Kami niat mikunan niat timan kolam koran jam beshir in nazram ine agar bisaban naya boldan wajib nis ada kuni. Bani behtari ki ada kuni chen baharal nazis ki anjam shud. Agar bisaban avurdi wajib ki anjam beshir. And if you don't do that, then there is a kafara that applies for going against the vow. For example, I vowed to go to Karbala and I did not go. For no reason, I did not go. A penalty applies over here. The penalty is, Imam Khomeini is of the opinion that it is the same kafara which is for fast, not fasting. So according to the opinion of Imam Khomeini, it is 60 fast. Likewise, Ayatollah Khoi, he is also of the same opinion that you have to fast for 60 days for going against the nazar. According to the ruling of Ayatollah Sistani and Khamenei, it is not like the kafara of the fast. It is the kafara of tampering the oath, and that is 10 fasts. You have to fast for 10 days. If you cannot, then you feed 10 people. If you cannot, you cover and clothe 10 people. First of all, don't go that route. Don't have these nazar done. One of the other conditions that are there for nazar is a wife, she cannot vow without the permission of the husband, which is good. And likewise, children also, they cannot vow without the consent of the father, of the mother. When I was studying in home, I had a big vow and I got stuck. You can't do it. I wrote to Ayatollah Mishkini, he was the Ustad in Akhlaq, and wrote to him, what do I do? He said, is your father alive? I said, yes. Say this to your father. My father, he came there, and before he was visiting, I told him this is what has happened. I'm stuck with this nazar. He told me off. He said, I've sent you there to study or to sit and bow and make these nuzurats. So that means he wasn't happy with it, means it's gone. So that is a blessing. Having parents, one of the blessings, one of the places where it is beneficial for you. So neither, first of all, don't do it. But if you do it, then you have to stick by it, stand by it. And then if you don't do it, then there is a kafara that applies. So this is regarding nazar. Returning to our topic, and that is the knowing of our deen and religion. We talked about the existence of God. We talked about His justice a little bit, and then His qudrat, His might, and then why do we need to thank Him? And if we thank Him, what are the ways of thanking Him? And of prayers as well, one of the ways of how we thank the Almighty Allah. Today we'll talk a little bit about the justice and the adl of Allah Ta'ala. Now this belief that we have in the justice of God, it is only and only the aqidah of the Shias, no one else, no one else. We believe God has to be just, adil. We believe Imam Ma'asum has to be just, adil. Prophets have to be adil. And then the Imam who you offer your prayers behind him, he has to be adil. And then the judge has to be adil. And all these designations like ijtihad and mujtahid and faqih, all of them they have to be adil. Adil means that he does everything that is wajib and he puts away everything that is haram. Ityanul wajibat wa tarkil muharramat. This is the definition of justice. So when you see that a person, he is adil, he does every wajib, he refrains from every haram, he can be a witness in Sharia. If he comes and says that I saw the moon, you can take his word. If there is a testimony that is required, a witness that is required in the course of justice, over there also his witness will be accepted. If he is not adil, his witness also will not be accepted. So we believe Allah is adil, means that he will never do anything that is unwise. That is, we believe that Allah, he will reward everyone who has done good. He will punish those who have done bad. The other schools of thought, they say that God is God. He can do whatever he wants. If he wants, he can put Imam Husain in the hell. If he wants, he can put Imam Yazid in the heaven. Because God is God. But we don't accept that. Quran also doesn't accept that. Quran says, Inna Allah laysa bi-dhallamin lil-abid. Dhallam means someone who does a lot of zulm. Then Allah doesn't do any zulm. Now the other schools, they translate this ayah as such that Allah, he doesn't do a lot of zulm, a little bit here and there he does. But we don't say that. We say, Inna Allah laysa bi-dhallamin lil-abid. No zulm whatsoever. Allah is Hakim. Allah is Adil. He will never punish someone who has done good. He will never reward someone who has been bad, who has been evil. So, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, he says that Adil, it means to place everything in the right place and performing every action in a proper manner. Adil justice, it doesn't always mean equal rights. An adil teacher is someone who gives the right score to the right student. Whatever he deserves, you give him. Whatever comments are required, you give. It isn't as such that a teacher can give equal rights and equal scores and equal marks to every student. That is not justice. That is zulm. Someone who has studied hard, someone who has worked hard deserves more appreciation. So someone who gives the same mark to all of the students is not adil. So you find that there are students different levels. So every level has its own mark. And the right and an adil teacher is someone who gives them and according to what they deserve. Now, Allah the Almighty, He is Hakim. He is wise. Now, whenever we say Allah is Hakim, means whatever He does is based upon His wisdom. Allah, He will never do something that is unwise because He is Adil. He will never create, for example, a creature that is going to consume everything on the surface of this earth and everyone else has to suffer. He will never do that. He will never do because that is unwise. All these 7 billion people will suffer and one creature has to be fed. That is against his wisdom, against his hikmat. So he is adil. Or sometimes it is said that the people, they have rights over God. No one has any right on God. No one. I don't have any right on him. You have no right on him. He has all the rights on us. Every right is his, that is upon us. Now, to understand this in simple words, we got these alphabets and letters. So alphabets and letters were created by man. So these alphabets, they have no say on their own. For example, W doesn't say that why am I crawling? And then I doesn't say that I'm straight upright. So every letter has a different form for a different purpose. It has been created. The letters have no right on the person who has created them. In fact, that person has given that existence to the letters, to those alphabets to have a form. We also don't have any right on God. Allah created us, so He gave us existence so that we grow, so that we achieve, so that we get to higher levels. And He wants us to grow. For that reason, He created us. That is that hikmat of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, the justice of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Now, when we look into other examples, for example, to understand what this adl and zul means in easy words, if we've got this huge big carpet here, if someone comes and rips it into small pieces and says that I want to use a small piece, that is zul, because it was made to be in one big piece. Now, if you have these smaller rugs, smaller prayer mats, yeah, that was made for that purpose, and if you use that for that purpose, that is adl, using it in the right way for the right reason. Ripping off something, destroying something to make out something of it, that is zulm. Now, Allah Ta'ala, He has created this magnificent creation. You've got creation that are big, small, huge, large, everything is His creation, and everything is rightfully made in the right place, and it has its own hikmat and benefit. If you remember in 1970s, China, because of the population was growing and they had a lot of birds, because there was a lot of farming in China. And all of a sudden, there was a drought, no farms, nothing. The reason for that, because there were too many birds in Beijing and Shanghai, they killed all the birds. Now these birds, they used to take away all the pests from the farms. They said these birds are a nuisance, they shouldn't be in the creation. The birds were removed. As a result, the entire farming was lost. Every little thing that Allah has created in this world has a benefit. There is a hikmah. Mosquitoes, flies, all these fruit flies, every little creation has its benefit. We don't know. We don't know what the benefit is. He knows. He has created everything. And that is the hikmah, hakim being of Allah. Tabarak wa Ta'ala, that He has made everything in the right way for the right reason. Or for example, if someone says that why are people rich and some are poor? Now if I give $10 to someone, to you, and $100 to another person, and tell them to go and get samosas. You go and get samosas, both of you will be rewarded because both of you have done the job. The amount of money that was given to the $10, he bought that many. $100, he bought that many. Although he bought fewer samosas for the $10, less than those $100, but he has been obedient, so both of them will be equally rewarded by Allah. But someone who has been blessed, who was given a lot more, there is a lot more questioning from that person. Allah says, I gave him that much of a talent, that much of a money, that much of an ability. So questioning also is going to be a lot more from that person. So being rich, being poor, being smart, being less smart, being blessed and all that, it doesn't mean anything. Then Allah Ta'ala, based upon His hikmat, His maslahat, He has given all of this to every person. To some a lot, to some a little. To those who He has given a little, those to whom He has given a lot, in their wealth, they have the right. The poor, they have the right, the deprived, the less fortunate, they need to be helped from them. So there is no objection over here. So God, He created all the beings in different forms and different categories, even human beings, they are not the same. Every part of the world you go, it's a different, it's the same human being, but you can see their features, their looks, their heights, their hair, their ears, their eyes, it's all different. And why did Allah do that? Says, لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you know each other. Now they come up nowadays and they say this is the Miss World and Mr. World, and and they take one from one country as the most perfect and the most beautiful. All that is nonsense. Anyone and everyone that Allah has created is the best and has created them in the best form. Inna khalaqnal insan fi ahsani taqweem. Now, for example, in engineering, you see all these structures that are being built. No one objects. Now, in the lower floors, they put a lot of steel, a lot of steel. They don't say that why so much of steel and concrete in these floors and nothing over there, very little on the top. Because the creator, the engineer, he knows that how much of a steel is required to hold that monument, to hold that structure. That is hikmat. And because he is Hakim, he does that. Or all these examples that we mentioned. Now, when you look into Quran, the ayah in Quran says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Says, from among the signs of Allah Ta'ala are the creation of the skies and the earth. And then all these different languages that we speak. Says that is again one of the signs of the greatness of Allah Ta'ala. And all these different color people are. Some dark, some light, some orange, some yellow. All these are those beautiful signs of Allah Ta'ala. Inna fi dhalika la'ayatin lil'alamin. In all of that, there are signs for the globe, for everyone, so that they know. This was a little bit about the creation of Allah, hikmat of Allah Ta'ala, that He, the Almighty, is wise. And whatever is happening is based upon the wisdom of Allah Jalla wa Ala. This morning, one of these young students, he asked a question. And the question was that if Allah could help Imam Husain, then why wasn't he helped? Allah could have done that, could have saved Imam Husain. Why did he not save him? Why was Imam Husain bound to be killed? Why should have been killed? Now that is again another hikmat of Allah Ta'ala. Now Taha did explain that in his speech, that miracles are not meant to happen. Miracles are meant to happen only when they want to prove a claim. The Prophet, he wants to prove a claim, there he shows and proves a miracle. Imam Husain alayhi salam, he had vowed to the Almighty to pass the test. If he wanted, he also could have got that help. On the day of Ashura, we will recite this Maqtal. And there says that 4,000 angels, they came down to help Imam Husain. Imam Husain denied, says, no, I don't want you. Jinn, the other creation, the mu'mineen from them, they also came to extend their support. Imam did not accept. That is, he wanted to fight this without any help. Why is that? Now, if he got the help from all those angels and jinn, or miraculously, if he, by his du'as, he had passed that test and he was saved, then today we will have not sitting over here crying for Imam Hussain. There's nothing special he did. Miraculously, he was saved. That is what then people will be saying that. Rasulullah also did not use that route. Amir al-Mu'mineen also was hit, was killed, was brutally martyred, and he departed this dunya in that Masrumiyya. So Ma'asumeen, the prophets, they are not allowed to use miracles for their personal gains, for their personal reasons. That is not allowed. Now, Bala means tests and trials that we have and we see in our day-to-day life. This has been always the reason or why Allah has created. I have to go through so many tests and trials to reach my destination. A child, he has to be tested in every class in every year so that he achieves the marks and the grades, and then he comes to his degree and all those qualifications, they are given to him. So without tests and trials, no one will get to anywhere. So tests are required, trials are required, Otherwise, everyone bottles, everyone the same. That is not meant to happen. And Allah Ta'ala has given aql to everyone, has given wisdom and freedom to everyone. With that free will, you have to achieve and arrive at all those high ranks. So bala that we have in our day-to-day life, that is a blessing from Allah Ta'ala. Sometimes you see that if you are on a motorway and the motorway is all the highway is all straight, no turns, nothing. The driver gets bored and then he feels drowsy and sleepy and then he may have an accident. But if you have all these turns and ups and downs and problems there, then the driver is always alert and he knows what to do and how to deal with all these difficult situations. So that is, bala means all these ups and downs that we have in our life. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he comes to a house of one of the Jews. There he sat with his companions. A pigeon laid an egg in the nest. And then that egg rolled from the nest, rolled out, and moved all the way on the wall, and from that wall to a lower wall, and then came down and fell on the ground, and it did not crack, it did not break. Rasulullah saw that and was amazed. The Jew, he says that in my house, nothing breaks. In my house, there is nothing that cracks. No problem I have here. Rasulullah, he stood and he said that we have to leave this place. Said why? Says a house wherein there is no bala, there is no rahmat of Allah, no mercy. So when there is a problem, means Allah is having a special favor upon that person. That is, maybe there is wrong that was done by us, and that wrong needs to be corrected. That way Allah afflicts us in some kind of a problem, and then we return to Him, and with that tawbah, with that forgiveness, we seek back the kind look of Allah. Looking into Quran, that says, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمَمٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. Quran says that we have certainly sent the prophets to nations before you, and then we seized them with stress and distress, the problems that they saw, so that they might entreat, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ, so that they return and they cry and they repent. Allah wants us to repent. Many times we also do wrong, and all of a sudden we see in our life there are so many problems. Those problems are blessing in disguise that come from Allah, that we return to Him, and by tawbah we get ourselves forgiven. That is something that we have. Or for example, another ayah in Quran says, قُلْ مَنْ يُنَجِّيكُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ تَدْعُونَهُ تَضَرُّعًا وَخُفْيَةً لَإِنْ أَنْجَانَا مِنْ هَٰذِهِ لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الشَّاكِرِينَ. There's all these problems that you find that can come into your camp. لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الشَّاكِرِينَ, that we are among those who are thankful to Him. Or this famous ayah that you have heard a lot, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ. Allah says we test you with a little bit of a fright. Now we see in all these Muslim countries, all these problems that are happening every now and then. There is khawf, there is fright there. Allah says we test them with a little bit of a fright. وَالْجُوعَ, hunger, no rain, no water, or sanctions are there, blessings are not being reached, says that is khawf, and then hunger is there. Sometimes, due to this problems that we have, finances go low, problems in finances. Says naqsin min al-amwal, finances are bad. Or says that children or people, they start dying, they are killed, like what's happening nowadays, every now and then everyone So many people are dying due to this COVID. So naqsan min al-amwali wal-anfus. Now Allah says was samarat. Sometimes you see that fruit is not there, vegetables are not there, food is not there. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Give good news to those who are patient. So those who are patient in all of these circumstances, they are the ones who are prosperous. So Allah wants us to be patient in all these tests and trials. In Karbala, we saw that Abu Abdullah, he lost everything. Or in other words, we can say that whatever he had, jhakat diya Khuda ke samne. And he just gave away everything in the way of God. Nothing remained. Everything he gave. Everything. And then throughout he was preaching to his family that you have to be patient. Don't complain. Because complaining reduces the ajr, reduces the sawab. So he says, don't complain to Hazrat Zainab until the last moment of his life. He says, be patient, be patient. Because with that sabr, there is ajr, there is reward. And when the ajr and sabr are there, promotions are there, elevations are there, Allah gives and bestows a lot. Looking into Quran, the Almighty says, Innal insana lafi khusr. Mankind, he is in a loss. Or says, Innal insana layatgha. Sometimes we see that man, he is rebellious. Lafi khusr, he is in a loss, and at times he is rebellious. Now over here, Allah says, I test him bishay'in min al-khawf, by giving some kind of a fear. So that's what was being mentioned over here is that in all these tests and trials, we don't need to worry. Don't worry at all. There is someone who cares for us and who worries for us. And that is Imam al-Asr, alayhi salatu wassalam. We don't need to have multiple people thinking and worrying for the same thing. And we have all these riwayat and all these teachings that Imam, he cares for us. On one occasion, it was a Friday. Amir al-Mu'mineen, it is his rule, his hukumat. And he is the Jummah prayer leader there. Rumayla is the reporter. Rumayla says that I wasn't feeling well. I was ill for the past few weeks. I had fever, temperature. And this Friday, I was a bit better. He said that the best thing I can do today is get ready and offer prayers behind Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. That is the best thing I can do. He says, I got up, I performed my wuzu, I came here to the masjid, and I sat in the khutbah, Amir al-Mu'mineen reciting. We offered the prayers. Prayers ended, everyone left, and my fever, it was back. I have temperature in the masjid now and all alone. Amir al-Mu'mineen comes to me, says, Rumayla, you aren't feeling well? He says, yes, Ya Ali, I haven't been well the past few weeks. This temperature. Imam says, by God, Rumayla. Mu'mineen pain, I feel the pain. When you fell down, I know that you have fallen down. Let's close it that when you raise your hands in dua, we say Ameen to your dua. So that is that beautiful connection that we have with the Ma'asumeen alayhi salam. And in this day and age, when you are in pain, Imam al-Asr also is there. He worries for you. He cares for you. So in all of these problems, we don't need to worry because there is someone who cares for us, who worries for us. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Out of His mercy, He brings about these problems, these tests and trials in our lives that we have to accept open-heartedly and then with open arms because that is a blessing that has been bestowed upon us. Prophet Ayyub, Quran says that Inna wajadnahu sabiran. We found him patient. Ni'mal abd, best of servants. Innahu awwab, indeed he returned. Why was he patient? Prophet Ayub was blessed with a lot of blessings. He had big lands, farms, thousands of people working for him. Allah had given him a lot of sons, a lot of children, a lot of money, and he used to feed thousands of people every day. Allah wants to test him. Farms were taken away. All of a sudden, everything dries. Prophet Ayub is patient. Then the wealth is gone. He is patient. All his children were under one roof. The roof falls. All of his sons, they die. He is patient. Then until the end, he was patient. And then a time comes when the wife, who was a Mu'mina, she used to work and she used to earn and she used to bring the food and bread to for Ayyub alayhi salam. And a point comes that now Shaitan in disguise, he appears in a form and says that if your husband eats a lamb unslaughtered in the way of halal, he will be cured. She comes and gives this news to Prophet Ayub, says that I've met someone very noble, and he said that if you eat a lamb without slaughtering it in the way of halal, that is, eat meat, something that is dead, which is najis and haram, you will be cured. Prophet Ayub says that was Iblis who gave you that news, and I'm not going to do it. Now the next moment here, Iblis appears in a form of a woman and says to Prophet Ayub's wife that you've got nice hair. If you give me a few locks of your hair, your husband will be cured. I'll give you some bread. She was working and he said that I won't give you any bread unless you give me some locks of your hair. She gives just to save that money with God the Prophet. And now here when Prophet Ayub finds out, and then he says that he bows down in sajda and says, God, all this time I was patient, but now I cannot be patient because it's the honor and izzat of the family involved. Wahi is revealed. Jibreel comes and says, Allah says, were you patient or did he give that patience to you? That sabr was given to you. You were not patient on your own. So tawfiq of being patient also is given by Allah Ta'ala. And then Allah returns everything to Prophet Ayub because he, for 7 years, he suffered. Now 70 years of his life, he was well off. 7 years suffering and then everything back to normal. And for tens of years, he was alive after that. Well, drowned in all the blessings. So tests and trials come in our life and they are not permanent, they are short term. And Allah does not test anyone beyond his capacity. We have to make a habit that recite the last ayah of Surah Al Imran. It's a beautiful ayah. It gives a lot of hope that Allah Ta'ala, Inna Allah, He doesn't test you more than what is in your capacity. That is a little bit about tests and trials that Allah Ta'ala, He wants us to be patient, to be obedient to Him in all walks of life, in every faith, in every era of our life, inshallah. One of those companions of Abdullah and Husain is Hur. Hur is the commander of one of the Yazid's armies. With an army of 1,000 men, he is the one who stops Abdullah and Husain when he comes to Karbala. But there were some things and traits in Hur that saved him, and that is the akhlaq of Hur, the adab that he has towards the household of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now that adab that he has towards Hazrat Fatima saved him, bailed him out. Anyone who has muhabbat towards the Ahlul Bayt is saved. Now, to someone who has that hatred and hate towards them is the one who will be ruined. Now, when we see the first day when Abdullah and Husain comes to Karbala, Hur stops. There is a heated talk between the two. And then Imam says, it's time for prayers. I'll go and offer my prayers. You offer your prayers with your 1,000 men on that side. Hur says, how can I do that? you are the son of Rasulullah, you lead the prayers, and I also lead. That is not possible. You are the Imam, you are the son of Rasulullah, and I will join you in Jama'at. If this message was given to Ubaydullah or Yazid, that this is your commander offering prayers behind Husain ibn Ali, that was sufficient to get him beheaded. But then Hur has that adab towards Ali Rasul. The second thing is that after this debate, this talk, all of a sudden, Imam, he says to Hur, Sakalatka ummuk, may your mother cry on you. Hur says, Yabna Rasulullah, you said that to my mother. I can't say that to your mother because your mother is Fatima. Fatima Sayyidatu Nisa'il Alameen. That is that adab he had, and that adab which bailed him out and which saved him. Now Shah Abbas Safar, he is one of those kings of Iran who ruled about 500 years ago, and one of the strongest and the greatest of the Iranian kings. He was a Shia. Now he comes to Karbala for the ziyarat of Sayyid al-Shuhada and Abu Abdullah Abdul Fazl Abbas. Now all these shrines that you see in Iraq, they were built in that time by these kings and princes and princesses of Iran. So they invested a lot. Whenever they had a nazr, a vow, they built the haram of Masumi. Now here Shah Abbas comes for the ziyarat of Imam Husain and Abu Fajr Abbas. When he was returning, his men, they said that you paid a visit to all of the Ashab of Imam. You haven't paid a visit to Hur. He says Hur wasn't with Imam Husain. He was against Imam Husain, so I will not be paying a visit to Hur. They say no, initially he wasn't, but then he, on the day of Ashura, he repented, he came back to Imam. Shah Abbas Safawi says that not possible, because if that was the case, then Hur also must have been buried with all the other Shuhada in the 72 Shuhada who have been buried in one place. He also must have been buried over there. They said no, his people, and they came and took the body away, and that's why you find the haram of Hur alayhi salam is about 5 kilometers away from Karbala. Then he says that he was with him, he said no. But then he says that is that ayah in Quran that Shuhada, they are alive. If he was a shaheed and he was obedient to Imam Husain and he was martyred in the service of Abu Abdullah, then his body in the grave must be alive and fresh, must be fresh there, must be present in the grave. Because لا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون. Don't assume, don't think those who have been killed in the way of Allah as dead. They are alive and their rizq is provided from Allah. So he says, okay, I'll go there to the haram of Hur, dig open the grave. If I find the body in the grave fresh, I vow to make a haram for him. And if the body wasn't there, then I will not. He comes here, exhumes the grave, brings the body out, and they see that the body is just there, fresh. When it's about 800 years since the tragedy of Karbala, more than 800 years since the tragedy of Karbala, and as if the body had been laid to rest and buried just now. He brings the body out and sees there is a handkerchief, a cloth that was tied onto his forehead. The men, they said that his head was wounded. Abu Abdullah and Husain, he placed his head, put his head in his laps, and then he cleans his face, his eyes, and he ties this handkerchief that was woven by Hazrat Fatima salamullahi alayha to stop the bleeding. Now what he does, he says that now it's proven for me that he was Husaini, he was with Imam. He says, as tabarruk, I'll take this handkerchief and keep it with me. As tabarruk, so I win all these wars that I have ahead. The moment he takes that out, the head starts bleeding. They try to wrap it up with everything else, it won't stop. He says it's destined that it's the same piece of cloth that was tied by Abu Abdullah and Husain has to be put back on his head, and that way the bleeding stopped. He just took away a thread from that piece of cloth as tabarruk and kept it with him for his duration of life. Now this fourth, who has such a lofty status, when we look back into the statements of Abu Abdullah and Husain, there says that on the 9th of Muharram, what Imam does, he puts off the light and says that everyone you can leave. Bay'at, which is my right, I take it away. That is, if Imam is killed and these people, they will not be punished. If someone doesn't abide and adhere to the bay'at of the Imam, has committed a sin and will be questioned and punished on the day of judgment. Imam says that bay'at is my right, I take it away. You can leave, go wherever you want to go. No one left, not one person left. And then they had these sermons and speeches delivered that how can we leave you, Ya Hussein, if we were killed 1,000 times and we were brought back to life, and if we were given the worst of killings, yet we will not leave you, we will be with you, we will stay with you. There Imam Hussein says that لا أعلم أصحابا أوفى وأبر وأصلح منكم ولأهل بيت أبر ولا أفضل من أهل بيتي. Says that when I scan, لا أعلم in Arabic means I don't know. For Imam who is ma'soom, I don't know is bad, because Allah has given them the ilm, they know everything. La a'lam over here is that when I scan the entire creation, I don't find anyone better than the ashab that were given to me in the entire creation of Allah. And I don't find any family members better than the family members who were given to me, better than them. The best Allah gave to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The most Allah gave to Imam Hussein, 72. Amir al-Mu'mineen did not have 72 supporters. Many of the Imams did not have any supporters. Imam Hussein had the maximum, had the best that was given to him. Now, Hur on this day of Ashura, he comes to Abu Abdullah. Now there he is in a state early morning at Fajr. Now when the men of Hur, they come to him, they say that Hur, if we were said who was the strongest man in Kufa, we would have said it's you. How come we see you so shaking? How come we see you so weak today? What is wrong, Hur? Hur says, I find myself between the hell and the heaven. Hell I will not go into. Heaven I will not let go. This is what do you want to do? He, riding his horse, with his hands on his head, comes galloping towards Abu Abdullah and Husayn alayhi salam, this ark of salvation, ark of mercy. Says, Ya Abu Abdullah, it was me who shook your hearts. It was me who shook the hearts of the Ahlul Bayt, the family of Rasulullah. Is there any way I can be forgiven? Imam says, yes, Allah will forgive you, Hur. Allah will forgive. So here says Hur, Imam says, come down, Hur. He says, allow me to be on the horse. I can serve you better on the horse, Yabna Rasulullah. He gets the permission of Imam Husayn alayhi salam and goes towards the battlefield. And then kills and fights, and then he is wounded and comes here. Imam Husayn alayhi salam, he comes quickly by the body of Hur where he has fallen. He places his head in his lap, cleans the eyes of Hur, and the head that was wounded and bleeding, he ties it with that cloth, that handkerchief that was woven by Hazrat Fatima Salamullah alayha. And then Imam says that when I was coming towards Karbala, I heard a caller say that Hur is someone who will be prosperous. Hur is Sa'id and prosperous in this world and in the hereafter, and says, your mother named you Hur, And what a good name it was given, that is free, which means full. Now here Imam wipes his eyes and then cries, and he passes away. Maybe over here also may have said that Imam also, he also collapsed, and that Imam falls from the horse, and then there is no one at that time to come and wipe the face of Imam Abdullah Husain alayhi salam. In all that loneliness, in all that alienation, in all that mazlumiyat, Abu Abdullah Husain alayhi salam departs from this earth. Ilahi, بحق الزهراء وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها 10 times يا الله 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 اللهم أحينا حياة محمد وآل محمد وأمتنا ممات محمد وآل محمد اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارة محمد وآل محمد وفي الآخرة شفاعة محمد وآل محمد. ماتم الحسين.
Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. चादरों का नाम सुनकर रो पड़ी बिनते अली शाम के दरबार में। चादरों का नाम सुनकर रो पड़ी बिनते अली शाम के दरबार में। वाहिजाबा कह रही थी सैयदा की लाडली शाम के दरबार में। चादरों का नाम सुनकर रो पड़ी बिनते अली शाम के दरबार में। कुर्सियों पर लाने शाम थे बैठे हुए साये दीवार में थे सब हरम लेकिन खड़े। बावफा को ढूंढती थी दो करे शेरे जरी शाम के दरबार में। चादरों का नाम सुनकर रो पड़ी बिनते अली शाम के दरबार में। शिमर देखा तो सकीना